Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generator game. This episode is a little bit different because it is the second half of the last video, since it ran a little bit too long. So this time we are going to dive in, take a look at what actually happened in the events. Okay guys, let's get ourselves ready and dive into it. It is time for us to skip a moon and to see what is going to happen. I'm keeping an eye on births and deaths so that hopefully we can get some good news from the newly mediated couple. So let's go ahead and see. And we have some notices. I'm hopeful. Wait, what? Feather Clan has no deputy again. We just appointed a deputy. At the gathering, River Clan's leader seems much more interested in chatting with the other leaders than Froststar. When she tries to include herself, she just draws awkward looks from other leaders. Oh no! I feel so bad for Froststar because definitely when she's going to these gatherings, she's taking a deputy with her. And I feel like as deputy, you'd kind of also get more of an insight into how the leaders kind of treat the clan leaders, you know, how other leaders treat your clan leader. You'd get an insight a bit more so than if you were just another clan member. So the fact that our anti-loyalist Bloomfreckle is actually seeing the way Froststar's being treated by the others, I wonder if she is gonna feel even more so that Froststar's hold is kind of slipping. Okay, Cicada Lotus wasn't looking where he was going and tripped over a small trunk, but came out of it with only his pride bruised. And Froststar collapses in the midst of camp, losing her remaining lives to old age. The leader has no lives left and has traveled to Star Clan. Guys, Froststar has finally left us. After all this build-up, after all the cats kind of harping on about her age, she has finally passed on. And I feel so bad that her last experience, you know, with the main stuff, her last experience as leader, I mean, we'll see more in relationships, maybe get an insight into what her final moments in the clan was like, but I feel bad that one of her final moments as leader was her kind of being isolated by the others and being excluded. Oh, Froststar is regretting leaving her clan without her. Look at this, guys. She's passed on and she's still worried that she hasn't been able to do enough for the clan. Oh my goodness. And she was 194 moons old. Okay. Bloomstar. Oh my goodness. Guys, just think about the timing of the recent reappointments. The timing. Like, if Snail Dusk had held out for one more moon, she would have been leader right now. But she didn't. She stepped down just before Froststar died. And Bloomstar, who only just got promoted to deputy, has now become clan leader. My goodness. Okay, Bloomstar has received the 9 lives and became the new leader of the clan. They feel like they're not ready for this new responsibility, but will try their best to do what is right for the clan. Oh wow. Bloomstar, guys. Bloomstar! Oh my goodness. We have a vengeful leader who is a renowned hunter. Oh wow. Wow. And she's 118 moons. Let's take a look at her leader ceremony. Bloomfreckle leaves to speak with StarClan. She closes her eyes and is immediately surrounded by her loved ones, friends, and clanmates who have passed on. Stars shine throughout their pelts and their eyes are warm as they greet the new leader. With a firm stance and even expression, Daisy Wish, my heart, takes her place in front of Bloomfreckle, giving her a life for acceptance. Bloomfreckle trembles as the life courses through her, and Daisy Wish mumbles that she should let this life guide her claws to remain sheathed when revenge clouds her senses. Stonestripe, oh, guys! Stonestripe steps forward to give Bloomfreckle a life for strength. Bloomfreckle grits her teeth as the life rushes into her. Dawn Valley strides forward, an energy in his steps that wasn't present in his last moments. He gives a life for empathy. Burnpaw, Burnpaw was the first apprentice. I'm gonna cry. Burnpaw was the first apprentice that Bloomfreckle had, who died on his first patrol because a dog killed him, like a big dog, bit him and killed him. Oh, okay. Burnpaw ambles forward, his starry gaze unreadable. Burnpaw grants Bloomfreckle a life for bravery, urging her to remember that a leader's greatest power is found not in fury, but in the courage to forgive. The life blazes through Bloomfreckle's chest, burning hot, but a soothing calm follows, easing her shaky breath. The fact that since he passed on, obviously, other than visions, there's not really any sort of connection, but I feel like this is, even in visions, they might not always meet or meet at all, and this is the first time that Burnpaw is reuniting with Bloomfreckle since his death and since they were, mentor and apprentice. Oh my goodness, okay. A young cat emerges from the starry ranks to give a life. Starlight reflects off her youthful eyes. Violet Paw stretches up to give a life for justice. Now, Violet Paw was not one of Bloomfreckle's apprentices. She was actually Bruce's apprentice who died. But, still, she was one of the younger cats. Shine Rip pads up to the new leader, softly touching her nose to Bloomfreckle's head. She gives a life for pride. Finally, Froststar steps forward. There is pride in her gaze as she stares into Bloomfreckle's eyes. She gives a life for leadership through the darkest times. Suddenly, the mist at the edge of the clearing takes shape. Dozens of wispy, starry spirits emerge, quickly surrounding Bloomfreckle. We grant you your remaining 2 lives. Individually, each voice is distant, but together the force of their words shakes Bloomfreckle to her core. Use them well with our blessing, and in a heartbeat, they are gone. Froststar hails Bloomfreckle by her new name, Bloomstar, telling her that her old life is no more. She is granted guardianship of FeatherClan and is told to use her new power wisely. The group of starry cats yowls Bloomstar's name in support. Bloomstar wakes up, feeling a new strength within her body, and knows that she is now ready to lead the clan. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. Because I remember reading Froststar's leadership ceremony, and it only had Shine Rip, obviously, because we didn't have, any dead cats at the time. But seeing these cats, even if it was in a vision or a dream, this is the first time that Bloomfreckle has been able to meet these cats again, or she's kind of been reunited with these cats who died. And the one that hit me the hardest was Burnpaw. Burnpaw hit me the hardest because Burnpaw was Bloomfreckle's first apprentice. And I feel like that relationship would have gone well had Burnpaw not died. So, that was rough. That was rough. Oh my goodness. Bloomstar. Bloomstar! Okay, guys, let's continue. Rumors reach your clan that the exiled Mulberry Claw has died recently. Okay, so another young death has happened at 26 moons. Must have been an accident. Rumors reach your clan that the kitty pet Nick has died recently. Nick is not a cat that we in the clan are that familiar with, but we have come across him. We have become aware of him when he newly joined, but he only recently, I feel like, joined Drift Clan, so it's kind of surprising that he also died. Sorry, she also died. She, who I assumed was male because the name Nick. Okay, sorry, she. There seems to be a trend. We had like Juliet, even though Juliet was a male. We had Jenny, who was a male. Now we have Nick, who is a female. Okay, going on. Cicada Lotus avoids Froststar's vigil. The sight of her slumped body is more than he can take. He's barely able to move his body and has to be gently guided to his nest, fatigue threatening to consume him. And he was one of Froststar's closest friends, and actually, at the time that Feather Clan was founded, Cicada Lotus was only an apprentice himself. And Froststar, was the wise medicine cat. And then not long after, Froststar became the leader. So for as long as Cicada Lotus has kind of known this clan and almost known the world, Froststar has been in it. And now she's suddenly not. So I can see how he would take it very, very hard. Charred Stripe tries to put on a brave face for her clanmates. But as she speaks about Froststar, her voice wavers and then breaks off into nothing. With a trembling gasp, she retreats to let another clanmate speak. She makes a point of removing foliage from Froststar's nest, snapping at any hindrance. Her paws tremble over the material, distraught when she realizes how fast Froststar's scent is fading. Now, of course, Charred Stripe was one of the cats who was an anti-loyalist, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she, wanted to see Froststar dead. She just wanted to see Froststar step down because Froststar's quite old. And maybe part of that could have also been her concern for Froststar and the fact that Froststar is, instead of spending her last few years in peace and relaxing the way Daisy Wish and Dawn Valley could, and even Snail Dusk is doing right now, that Froststar is kind of like forcing herself to keep going when she can't. So it also could have been about that. But then to have the sudden death, and even for Charred Stripe, she was Cicada Lotus's mentor. But she was actually, I think, quite young, like just freshly an adult when she became Cicada Lotus's mentor. So similarly for her, for as long as she has known the clan, like Froststar has always been in it. So this must definitely be something that is kind of, it's really shocking. The past moon, Froststar has taken their place in Star Clan. Feather Clan mourns their loss, and their clanmates will miss the spot they took up in their lives. Moments of their life are shared in stories around the circle of mourners as those that were closest to them take them to their final resting place. So that's right, Froststar has left us, which is so unexpected. And of course, this means that we are going to have to update the roles once more before next episode. Because we just had, a reallocation. We have no deputy, but I feel like some of the roles, they're gonna shift. Every time one of the roles, something happens to it, usually there's a shift in the other roles as well. So we're gonna have to see what Bloomfreckle decides as the new leader. Like, how is she going to, assign her cats, the cats in power? Who's she gonna kind of select? I'm also super, super curious to actually see who supports or is loyal to Bloomfreckle and who isn't. Because even though the cats, we had loyalists and anti-loyalists for Froststar, that doesn't necessarily mean that the same cats are going to be loyal or anti-loyal when it comes to Bloomfreckle. So I'm curious to see how that is going to change. Okay. Now let's dive into the relationships and see what's happening over here. Cicada Lotus decides to be the bigger cat and plans to make amends with Froststar. Okay, I think Cicada Lotus was giving Froststar, like in the previous moon or so, was giving Froststar a bit of a cold shoulder. Because I think Froststar was feeling a bit sensitive and lashed out at him. Okay, Bloomfreckle sees Charred Stripe help a clanmate to get unstuck from some brambles. Bloomfreckle... Okay, who did Charred Stripe help? Someone who Charred Stripe is very close to. Cicada Lotus. Not Bloomstar. Because, yeah, Bloomstar's the one watching. Okay, so Cicada Lotus. She helps Cicada. I feel like Cicada Lotus is always getting stuck in brambles. Am I the only one? Because I'm pretty sure not too long ago, Locust Leaf literally was helping his dad get out from a bunch of brambles. So, fascinating. Okay, Bloomfreckle is always happy to be around duck pelts, which is actually quite nice. And this is going to be interesting to see because right now, at this point in time in the events, in terms of our timeline, Froststar's still around and Bloomfreckle hasn't yet become leader. So we'll get to see how things went like leading up to that. Okay, Froststar won't stand for slander about Iris Quiver, which makes sense because they have been close friends in these years, or recent years I feel. Okay, Froststar asks Iris Quiver about a certain rule of the warrior code that she forgot. I feel like this maybe is Froststar, part of her age, she's forgetting things, she's slipping up, and she's asking her close friends to help out when, she makes those mistakes. Snail Dusk. Oh, so immediately after this, Froststar died, because the next thing we have is a Bloomstar. We have a Bloomstar, whereas beforehand it was a Bloomfreckle. Snail Dusk turned to Bloomstar in a time of need, only for Bloomstar to abandon her. Oh no, and that was the first thing that Bloomstar did as leader. Okay. Wow, you know what, I wonder. So, this is kind of interesting. So, Froststar actually spent her last moments with Iris Quiver. She spent her last moments defending Iris Quiver against slander, and Iris Quiver is the new mediator, and also asking Iris Quiver about certain rules about the warrior code that she might have forgotten. I'm actually going to interpret these two interactions or notices as Froststar knowing that, and then, in the notices it said that she collapsed in camp. So I think Froststar maybe started realizing that her end is coming, the end of her life is coming, and she went to the mediator so that she could kind of talk to him about where the clan was at, the new positions everyone has, which very well might change under new leadership, and maybe some of the hopes and aspirations she had, some of the problems she's noticing, the cats that are not getting along, and maybe she was hoping that Iris Quiver will be able to kind of, in his own way, through mediation, kind of keep everyone together. I think she was placing her trust in her friend and the mediator, Iris Quiver, that, however things go and whatever happens, he's one of the cats that a lot of the other cats trust and she trusts, and she hopes that he's going to look after everyone the best that he can after, should something happen to her. And then I think immediately after this conversation, she kind of collapsed and she died. Whew. So again, she spent her last moments thinking about the clan. Even when we checked up on the cat list, like in Star Clan, she was very kind of sad to have left her clan behind, or left her clan without her. So, And then I wonder if Snail Dusk, maybe being absolutely shocked at the turn of events, maybe went to Bloomfreckle to go and vent maybe some of her emotions or talk to her, but Bloomfreckle, who just suddenly became Bloomstar and now had all these things to deal with, she kind of didn't have time for Snail Dusk. She kind of turned her away because she was busy trying to sort out this mantle of leadership and what the heck is going to happen, and the fact that they have no deputy and the roles need to switch around. So I think Bloomstar was a little bit kind of, trying to get things in order, and unfortunately that meant she had to, ignore Snail Dusk. Okay. Snail Dusk overhears Sandy Speckle saying something kind about her, and I kind of like the idea that Bloomstar's son, the charming Sandy Speckle, noticed that Snail Dusk was just needing some comfort, but also seeing that his mother's busy. And maybe as Snail Dusk kind of, slunk out of Bloomstar's nest or the leader's nest or leader's den, Sandy Speckle kind of went up to his mother and said, she's kind of shocked. Maybe she just wanted someone to talk to a little bit and would have liked a friend. And so Snail Dusk, hearing that, kind of felt a lot better, appreciated that at least Sandy Speckle understood what she was wanting. Because she's a very loving cat. So, Bloomstar, I feel like, is very focused on what needs to be done, as her vengeful self. Whereas Snail Dusk, she wants love and affection, she needs reassurance, and she thought that she'd get that from Bloomstar, which she didn't. Okay, Locust Leaf tells Iris Quiver that his pelt is shiny today. Yep, I think Locust Leaf is telling Iris Quiver that he looks so good in his role as mediator. That's how I'm interpreting this. And that he's been handling everything, maybe following the death really well. So that's going to be a compliment from Locust Leaf to his stepfather. Iris Quiver didn't warn Duckpelt about a rock on the ground, which caused Duckpelt to trip. Again, I think everyone is just too focused on scrambling to handle their own roles and the gaps in their roles. And Duckpelt, I imagine, was running after she got the news that Froststar has collapsed, because we know how close Duckpelt has been to Froststar, and that's probably why she tripped. Okay, Child Stripe can't remember a word for the life of her, but Cicada Lotus helps her remember it. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So I can kind of see how during this time of mourning, because Child Stripe and Cicada Lotus actually took Froststar's death very, very hard, I can kind of see how mentor and apprentice would kind of bond over this, get a little bit closer, because they're comforting each other with something that maybe some of the other cats are not going to be able to understand. These two had a unique relationship in the past, being mentor and apprentice, and also being so young when Froststar was around as medicine cat and leader. So I think they would have similar memories to bond over. Okay, Child Stripe explains what a joke means to Sandy Speckle. Okay, so Child Stripe is spending a little bit of time with her best friend's son. Blue Stripe asks Smoke Thunder how she's doing, which is so sweet of him. The fact that Froststar did not spend her last moments with her daughter, and then nobody has asked Smoke Thunder how she's taking her mother's death. Nobody has asked her so far, which is kind of wild. So I think it's very, very sweet that Blue Stripe is the one who is going to ask Smoke Thunder how she's doing. Smoke Thunder and Bloomstar are chatting about what they're doing today. Okay, and then Smoke Thunder, finally goes to Bloomstar, and they kind of talk about the fact that this role of leadership, out of all the cats, it's been left to Bloomstar, and what that might mean going forward. And Bloomstar may be making final arrangements for Froststar with Smoke Thunder, for the vigil. Locust Leaf and Scale Run strive to be like one another, so the youngsters are bonding with each other as well, which is kind of nice to see over here. Duckpelt offers to groom a hard-to-reach place for Bloomstar, who thanks her earnestly. Okay, so Duckpelt, she, I feel like, was being groomed by Froststar to be of help to whoever is in leadership. And now that Froststar isn't around, Duckpelt has wasted no time in becoming really close to Bloomstar and trying to help out Bloomstar. So you're gonna have to see how this goes. But that's kind of an interesting thing to note. Sandy Speckle and Scale Run, so brother and sister, laugh over happy memories together. So, they're bonding, which is very nice. And, their mother is now the leader. Their mother is now the leader. So that's, I think, very, very exciting for these two. And to be honest, they haven't really been around that long. They're very, very young. So they would not kind of, I think, be as attached to Froststar being the leader as some of the others would. And for quite a few moons as adults, actually not even adults, from the time they were apprentices, they were kind of ready for Froststar to step down. They were kind of like amping up for a change in the clan, and now they've gotten that change. So I think they're actually very happy and excited for the future of the clan. Not to say they don't feel bad for, Froststar and obviously the family members, and they're not viewing her death maliciously, but I think they're very, very excited and hopeful for the future. Scaleron and Sandy Speckle get their first stuck together with some sap. That's adorable. I kind of like how these two siblings, who are very close from a young age, have maintained their closeness and their silliness with each other, despite the fact that Scaleron is quite serious. But she indulges her brother, and I love that. Whereas with Locust Leaf and Duckpelt, they were very close as kittens, but I feel like as they've gotten older, their paths have been going in different directions, and they've been having quite a few, disagreements, split loyalties, all those kind of things, but they've ended up kind of walking very different paths in their lives. So it's kind of nice to see a group of siblings that haven't been changed by time. Cicada Lotus, yes, avoids the vigil. We are aware of this. And Childstripe, I think she was the one who was talking earlier on, and she actually couldn't remember a word. It says here she was trying to speak about Froststar, and I think somewhere up here it said that, yep, she can't remember a word for the life of her, but Cicada Lotus helps her remember it. And that's probably her talking at the vigil, and she couldn't remember a word, and that's when she kind of started choking up, and she let someone else speak. And then Cicada Lotus was just, he avoided the vigil. He avoided the vigil. Or maybe even, after she kind of spoke, then she was kind of led away because she stopped, her voice was wavering too much and she couldn't say anything else. And maybe she went back to Froststar's nest, and then Cicada Lotus managed to join her there, and she was trying to talk to him and explain how she was feeling, and she couldn't think of a word, and Cicada Lotus helped her out, and that's where they bonded as mentor and past apprentice. Thinking about Froststar. Wow. Okay, well that was very, very unexpected, and we have gone over 50 minutes, which means, guys, that I will be definitely splitting this particular moon. I'm gonna have to split it into 2 parts, this video. Yeah, this was definitely big, but it means that we have now we have 2 cats who are not doing too well. Our medicine cat is grieving, is in mourning. Oh, and Cicada Lotus is in mourning. Oh my goodness, guys. What is going to happen? What is going to happen? I don't flippin' know. I don't know. But okay, with that said and done, I'm gonna leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.